If you're looking for a camera to vlog and you're on the fence between the DJI Pocket 3 or the Action 4, hopefully by the end of this video, you're gonna have your answer. Because in this video, we're gonna do a detailed comparison between these two cameras, and I'm gonna share with you guys the pros and cons of both. Good chair right here.
Freezing.
You're covered in snow. So first, let's start with field of view. When you're vlogging, you not only want to be able to film yourself, but as well you in the environment that you're in. You don't want a bubbling head effect going on. You want to be able to film you and the environment all at the same time. Now with the Pocket 3, you're gonna get 20mm focal length, but you can add a wide angle lens to give you a 15mm focal length, which is a 108-degree field of view. The extra 5mm focal length is really nice with wide angle because it makes it a lot more wide and immersive when it comes to vlogging. But even with the extra focal length from the wide angle lens on the Pocket 3, the Action 4 is still gonna give you much more wider field of view. The Action 4 has a wide and ultra wide mode, which gives you a whopping 155 degrees field of view. It really has this really nice immersive feel when it comes to vlogging. So when it comes to field of view, the Action 4 definitely takes the win. All right, what about screen sizes? When it comes to vlogging, it's really important that you're able to see yourself to figure out what the composition is and how does exposure look. On the Pocket 3, you're getting a brand new 2-inch screen, which is really nice. And I love the fact that in the bottom right corner, you have this little button here that just switches the gimbal from filming front or back, meaning you have a 2-inch screen for when you're filming yourself, and whenever you want to film in front of you, you also have a 2-inch screen. Whereas with the Action 4, you have a front screen that's only 1.4 inches, but then a back screen that's 2.25 inches. But when you're vlogging, most of the time you're seeing the front screen. So on the Action 4, you're actually getting a lot less screen real estate when you're vlogging. So when it comes to screen size, I would actually say that the Pocket 3 is better because of the fact that you can just film vlogging or film your B-roll all with the same 2-inch screen. Feature depot here. Before we jump into stabilization between the Pocket 3 and the Osmo Action 4, I had to tell you guys about this episode's sponsor, and that's Audio. Audio is a new player in town offering really high quality music and sound effects, and they finally made it so much easier in order to find that favorite song of yours. With Audio, they have an amazing feature called Link Match AI, where you can basically take any link from your favorite song from Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, even SoundCloud, and you can just copy and paste that link into Audio, and it's gonna automatically find similar songs to that favorite song of yours. Meaning you can create great content with the music that you love while being monetized. This is literally a feature that I've been waiting for so long, and I'm so stoked that this feature is available with the Audio Pro subscription. Speaking of which, Audio has been kind enough to offer you guys, my audience, a 70% disc code using TEPO70. So use the link in the description and use my code TEPO70 in order to get 70% off the yearly Pro subscription. It's a steal of a deal, let me tell you. For stabilization, the Pocket 3 and the Osmo Action 4 are both really great. When you see the side-by-side comparison, you can't see much difference. They both have really nice stabilized footage. Where the Pocket 3 really outperforms the Action 4 is in low light situation. Because the Pocket 3 has a mechanical gimbal and it's not relying on digital stabilization, it's gonna be able to stabilize the footage no matter what the lighting conditions. Whereas if you're filming with the Action 4 in low light conditions, you get this weird micro shake jitter because the shutter speed's having to go so low in order to get enough light. So when it comes to stabilization, I would say that the Pocket 3 wins because you're able to get stabilized footage not only in great conditions, but as well in low light conditions. All right, let's talk about tracking and focus. One really nice feature about the Pocket 3 is that you can have active track, meaning it's gonna find a face or a subject to track to, and then the gimbal is gonna move around, getting you always in the middle of the shot. This is great when you're vlogging, and as well if you're filming someone else. For example, if you're snowboarding, you can just choose your subject and it's gonna track and follow that person, which is great because then you can focus on snowboarding and avoiding obstacles and not have to worry about whether or not your subject is in focus in the middle. You just let the Pocket 3 do all the work for you. As well, the Pocket 3 has different focus modes. It's got a single focus mode, continual focus mode, and a product showcase mode, which is really nice if you you're a content creator and you're reviewing a product, and you're able to show off the product, the Pocket 3 is actually going to be able to snap onto the product rather than on your face, which is a really nice feature. Whereas with the Action 4, it's a fixed focus, so you have no control of what kind of focus you want when you're filming with the Action 4. As well, the Action 4 has a minimum focus distance of 40 centimeters, whereas the Pocket 3 has a minimum distance of 20 centimeters, meaning you can get a lot more close up and more diverse shots with the Pocket 3 versus the Action 4. So from a focus and tracking perspective, I definitely would say that the Pocket 3 outperforms the Action 4. So point for Pocket 3. When it comes to video quality, which is obviously very important when you're vlogging, I would say that the Pocket 3 and the Action 4 are very similar. Both have D-Log M. They film in 10-bit. They go from 4K 25 frames per second all the way to 120 frames per second, and as well at 1080 you can do up to 240 frames per second if you want that nice epic slow motion. When it comes to dynamic range, it's not too noticeable which camera performs better. I did notice though that the Pocket 3 often overexposes a little bit, so I would suggest if you're filming with the Pocket 3 to put the exposure compensation down to -0.7 or -1 stop of light in order to get a nice exposure for your footage. Maybe the only moment when the Pocket 3 really performs better than the Osmo Action 4 is in low light conditions, again because of that stabilization. You're not getting that weird micro jitter with the Pocket 3, whereas with the Action 4 you are, because having to use such slow shutter speeds. When it comes to video settings, I like to bring down the sharpness to -2 and then noise reduction -1. And the reason for this is that you can always add sharpness later in post, whereas if you already have sharpness baked into your footage, there's not much you can do with that, and I often find it has a little bit of a digital sharpness look to the footage. So I'd much prefer just taking the sharpness down to -2 and then figuring out that later in post. When it comes to audio, both the Pocket 3 and the Action 4 have internal microphones. I wouldn't necessarily use them myself. They're not bad, but they're not great either. And especially because you can add a wireless microphone to both, I would much rather just use the wireless mics on the Pocket 3 and the Action 4. This is what the Pocket 3 sounds like with just the internal microphone. All right, this is a test of the internal mic on the DJI Pocket 3. And this is what it sounds like with the wireless microphone. All right, now this is a test of the wireless microphone with the DJI Pocket 3. How does the audio sound with this? And this is what the Action 4 sounds like with just the internal microphone. All right, this is the audio test for the DJI Osmo Action 4 with the internal microphone. And this is what it sounds like with the wireless microphone. And this is what the DJI Osmo Action 4 sounds like with the wireless 2 microphone. So how does this sound with the Action 4? I do love the fact with the Pocket 3 and the Action 4 that you can use the wireless mics to get nice audio, and it just opens the doors for what kind of shots you can take, because you can leave the camera behind somewhere and get a nice wide shot with you talking and still having great audio. So that's definitely a great feature in the Pocket 3 and Action 4. When it comes to durability and build quality, I definitely would say that the Action 4 outperforms. The Pocket 3 is not weatherproof in any way, so I definitely would not suggest to go out and film in the rain or in the snow. I was a little bit risky and took the Pocket 3 with me snowboarding, and it was a whopping -20 degrees Celsius out there, so it was really freezing. Nothing happened with me, but I wouldn't want to risk it because it's not waterproof. Another downside of the Pocket 3 is that if you, for example, scratch the lens, you're kind of screwed. There's not much you can do, whereas with the Action 4, you can just replace the filter on the lens and you're fine. As well, if the Pocket 3 took a big hit, I don't know if the gimbal would survive, so you definitely don't want to be rough with the Pocket 3. Whereas with the Action 4, I would have no problem taking it with me, vlogging, dropping it, doing whatever to it, because I know it's not gonna break, and even if the lens filter got scratched, I can just replace it and get a new one. I even want to test out the durability of the Action 4, and because it's just so dang cold here in northern Finland right now, I decided to put it outside for a few hours and just let it freeze. That's my Osmo Action there. Let's see if it still turns on. It's been out here for 24 hours and it turns on. Boom. Well, that's durability right there. This has literally been outside -20 degrees for 24 hours. When it comes to battery life, the Action 4 has a bunch of different batteries that you can just replace and use, which is really handy, whereas the Pocket 3 has a built-in battery in the handle of the Pocket 3, and as well with the Creator Combo, you can get a battery handle that's going to increase the battery by 62%. I personally would just rather have batteries that you can just put in and out, because for example with the Pocket 3, if the battery runs out on the handle and your battery handle then you gotta stop and recharge both until you can film again. Whereas with the Action 4, you can just put in new batteries and have other batteries charging while you're using the battery. So I think it's better to have batteries that you can change in and out. I guess you could always get 2 battery handles for the Pocket 3, but that does get expensive and takes a lot of space. So point for the Action 4 when it comes to batteries. When it comes to price, the Action 4 for just the camera is $299 US, and then with the creator combo is $399. Then the Pocket 3 is $519 just for the camera and $669 for the creator combo. I would recommend the creator combo with the Pocket 3 because you're getting the wide angle lens and the battery handle with the little stand, and you're getting the wireless microphone. All tools that I definitely would use with the Pocket 3 while vlogging. But yes, at the end of the day, the Action 4 is more affordable, so point for Action 4. So at this point, you're probably wondering, well, what's your verdict, Teppo? Which camera would you suggest for vlogging? Now, if I'm brutally honest, I haven't actually remembered what the point scores have been for the Pocket 3 and the Action 4. But if someone was to ask me which camera would I get for vlogging, I still would choose the Pocket 3 because it's a camera dedicated for vlogging. Features like the tracking, being able to just press a button and the gimbal films in front of you and then yourself, being able to see a nice 2-inch screen, and having really nice stabilized footage in all lighting conditions, especially low light conditions. Those are all features that really would make me want to choose the Pocket 3. Now, probably the only situation where I would suggest the Action 4 over the Pocket 3 for vlogging would be for people who are gonna be really rough with their camera. Maybe you're into action sports where you wanna film some action sports, but as well vlog, then the Action 4 is gonna be great for you. Or maybe, for example, you're a travel vlogger and you're just on the go, hustling, moving around, and there's a lot of instances where you could drop and break your camera. The Pocket 3 most likely is not gonna handle that. You know, the lens could get scratched or the gimbal could break, and that's gonna be a disaster. Whereas with the Action 4, it's gonna be able to just last those moments. So for someone who's gonna be rough with their vlogging camera, then maybe go with the Action 4. But for someone who's just walking around vlogging with the Pocket 3, or you're in your office, studio, whatever, then I would suggest the Pocket 3 as your vlogging camera. So there you go, that was my detailed comparison of the Pocket 3 to the Action 4. Hopefully this clears up all the questions that you've had, and now you no longer need to be on the fence because you know which camera would work for you best. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe because I'd love to have you enjoy the future videos. And as well, if you want to learn more about the Pocket 3, I've done a whole video right here that you can enjoy.